Our blog assessment uses authentic English text from different written sources, such as articles and journals. The purpose of this study is to analyze verb usage in context, focusing on tenses, aspect, voice, and subject-verb agreement. For the first one, we took a journal article as source A. The journal selected for this analysis is titled Exploring English Language Learning and Teaching in Malaysia, published by University Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM, in 2012 and accessed online in December 2025. For source B, we chose Live News article. The article selected is titled Tesla Overtaken by Chinese carmaker BYD as World's Biggest Seller of Electric Vehicles, published by BBC News in 2026 and accessed in January 2026. For this analysis, both texts are written in standard English and the range word counts are from 90 to 100, making them comparable in length and suitable for balanced analysis. Both texts focus on informational content, with one discussing real-world issues and the other addressing the global electric car industry. Text from informal sources, such as social media posts, advertisements, and personal messages, were excluded. Creative text, overly short text, and text presented only as headlines or bullet points were also excluded. This analysis focuses on 4 verb-related features, such as tenses, aspect, voice, and subject agreement. Specifically, it examines the types of tenses used, such as the simple present and present perfect, the use of aspect, active and passive voice, and the grammatical accuracy of subject-verb agreement. For source A, we have chosen this particular paragraph, which contains 4 sentences in total to analyze the grammatical features.
From the paragraph, we took 4 sentences as data examples. The first one, studies conducted to look for ways to improve English language learning in Malaysia have largely focused on teaching and learning of English in the language classrooms. Number 2, it is important now to look beyond the language classrooms in order to understand the position of English literacy to the learners. Examples number 3, more studies are needed to examine learners' ways of using different linguistic repertory when they are outside of the classrooms. And the last data example, studies are also needed to find ways to situate English language among the available linguistics codes our learners have.
The findings in Table 1 show that the present tense is used the most, which represents 100% in total, indicating that the text mainly focuses on stating general facts and ongoing truth. This tense is commonly used in news report to present information clearly and objectively without focusing on specific time. Overall, the frequent use of the present tense reflects the informative nature of the text, as it helps convey core information in a clear and factual manner.
Next is aspect usage. Table 2 presents the distribution of aspect types based on the sample sentences analyzed. As shown in the table, the simple aspect is the most frequently occurring category in the 4 sentences from the dataset, appearing in 3 sentences, which are sentences number 2, 3, and 4. In contrast, perfect aspect is represented by only 1 instances, as illustrated in sentences number 1. Overall, the findings indicate that simple aspect forms are more commonly used than perfect aspect within the selected sample. These classifications are based on the grammatical realization of aspect through verb phrase, structure, and auxiliary usage. Next is the percentage. Table 3 summarizes the distribution of 2 aspect types identified in the analyzed sentences. As shown in the table, the simple aspect is the most frequently occurring category, with 3 instances accounting for 75% of the total data. In comparison, the perfect aspect occurs less, which is once, representing 25% of the total data.
Next is voice. Table 4 presents the distribution of voice type based on the sample sentences analyzed. As shown in the table, 2 sentences are produced using the active voice, and passive voice constructions are also 2 sentences. Active voice shows on example 1 and 2, while passive voice appear on example 3 and 4. Overall, the findings indicate a balanced use of active and passive voice within the selected sample. The passive voice is mainly used to emphasize the action or process rather than who does the action, which is common in academic writing. For the percentage, Table 5 summarizes the distribution of voice forms identified in the analyzed sentences. As shown in the table, 2 sentences are produced using the active voice, which is 50% of the total data. Meanwhile, the other 2 sentences are using passive voice, also accounting for 50% of the total data. This finding indicate the equal tendency of the users of active and passive voice in the selected 4 sample sentences, which shows a reflection of direct action performed.
Let's move on to the last point for source A, subject-verb agreement. Table 6 presents the distribution of subject-verb agreement types based on the sample sentences. As shown in the table, sentence 1, 3, and 4 are categorized under subject-verb agreement, plural subject plus plural verb. In contrast, sentence 2 is categorized under subject-verb agreement, singular subject plus singular verb. For the percentage, Table 7 summarizes the distribution of subject-verb agreement patterns identified in the analyzed data. As shown in the table, all instances display correct subject-verb agreement, with 4 occurrences accounting 100% for the total sample. No case of incorrect agreement were identified in the dataset, resulting a frequency of 0 and corresponding percentage of 0%. Overall, the findings indicate complete conventionality to standard subject-verb agreement, 8 agreement rules across analyzed clauses. The agreement patterns are based on a total of 4 instances, which together constitute 100% of the observed data.
So we have covered the observation data. Next, we will discuss our views on the analysis in the discussion part. Firstly, for the tenses, the findings in Table 1 show that the simple present tense is used more frequently, indicating that the text mainly focuses on stating general facts and ongoing truth. This tense is commonly used in news reports to present information clearly and objectively without emphasizing specific time. In contrast, the present perfect tense appears only once, showing its limited but important role in linking past actions to present relevance, as seen in the phrase, have largely focused. Overall, the use of these tenses reflects the informative nature of the text, with the simple present conveying core information and the present perfect connecting past events to the present.
Next, the findings in Table 2 show that the simple aspect is used more often than the perfect aspect. Both aspects are used to express different meanings in the sample sentences. The simple aspect is mainly used to describe ongoing situation or habitual actions, making the information clear and direct. For example, the third sample sentence states that it is important to look beyond language classroom to understand English literacy among learners. The use of auxiliary verb is shows that this situation is currently true and remains important. According to Ryan 2023, the simple present tense is commonly used to describe habits, facts, and situations that do not change. In contrast, the perfect aspect focuses on actions that started in the past and still have relevance in the present. This can be seen in the first sample sentence, which discusses efforts to improve English language learning in Malaysia. The present perfect tense helps highlight the connection between past action and their current effects. As stated by BIK12103 2024, the present perfect tense is used to describe past actions that continue to the present or have results that are still important.
The findings in Table 2 show an equal distribution of active and passive voice in the selected sample sentences. 2 sentences are constructed using the active voice while the remaining 2 employ passive voice forms. This balanced use suggests that both voice types play an important role in the data set. The active voice is usually clearer and easier to understand because it shows who is doing the action. This helps improve clarity and makes the sentence easier to understand. On the other hand, the passive voice can make sentences more complicated and less direct because it focuses on the action rather than the subject. Overall, the equal use of active and passive voice in the sample sentences reflect a combination of clarity and formality.
Lastly, the findings in Table 6 show that the subject-verb agreement is used correctly and consistently in all 4 sample sentences from the academic journal, Exploring English, Language Learning and Teaching in Malaysia. Singular subjects are followed by singular verbs, while plural subjects are followed by plural verbs, which help maintain grammatical accuracy and clarity. This usage follows the basic rule of subject-verb agreement stated in Garner's Modern English Usage, where singular subject takes singular verbs and plural subject takes plural verbs. For example, in sample sentence number 2 shown in Table 6, it is important now to look beyond the language classroom in order to understand the position of English literacy to the learners. The subject, it, is singular and is correctly followed by the singular auxiliary verb is. Proper subject-verb agreement allows reader to clearly understand the relationship between the subject and the action, reduces confusion, and shows a strong understanding of our basic grammatical rules, which is important for effective written communication.
Next, we are moving on to source B. We check four things. First, agreement. The verb must match the subject in number and a person. For example, is the biggest car maker. Second, tense, which is time of the action, past, present, and future. Third, aspect, the shape of time. For example, progressive. Is, are, verb plus ing. Perfect, has, have, verb plus ed. Fourth, voice. The first one is passive. For example, Tesla Crown has been taken as the top seller for electric cars worldwide by it. And the second one, active. For instance, now it has taken Tesla's Crown as for the top seller of electric cars worldwide. Next, data examples for source B. The first one, it is the biggest car maker in China. The second one, now it's taken Tesla's crown as the top seller of electric cars worldwide. And so far, there are no signs of the brakes coming on. The third one, a few years ago, BYD was almost unheard of outside China. The fourth one, now it has 1,000 dealerships in Europe alone, and it plans to have another 1,000 by the end of this year. The fifth one is expanding aggressively worldwide and is trying to take market share by offering relatively sophisticated electric cars with a hefty price tag. The sixth one is proof a powerful combination with sales of EVs rising 28% last year. This last one, the biggest barriers going electric is pricing.
Now, let's go to the aspect. Table 2 shows the distribution of aspect type based on the analyzed sample sentence. According to the table, the simple aspect is the most frequent category, appearing in 4 sentences. In addition, the perfect aspect is represented by 2 examples. Meanwhile, the progressive aspect appears only once. Overall, the findings indicate that simple aspect forms are frequently used compared to perfect and progressive aspect within this specific selection. In summary, the tab prioritizes progressive form to emphasize the continuous nature of relationship dynamics, using specific verb structure to distinguish between past change and current habit. For percentage, Table 3 shows the different type of aspect found in the data. According to the table, the simple aspect is the most frequent, appearing 4 times and making up 57% of the total sample. The perfect aspect appears twice, representing 29% of the data. Meanwhile, the progressive aspect appears only once, accounting for 40%. Overall, its distribution is based on a total 7 examples, making up 100% of the observed sample. These findings show how the author used specific helping verbs and phrase structures to describe time and action in the article.
Next is the voice form. Table 4 presents the distribution of voice forms based on the sample sentences analyzed regarding BYD's market growth. As shown in the table, 6 sentences are produced using the active voice, while the passive voice construction is represented by 1 sentence. 6 sentences are produced using the active voice, with the exception of sentence 3, which is written in the passive voice. Overall, the findings indicate that the active voice is the dominant form used to communicate the brand's rapid expansion and current industry standing. The active voice is primarily used to emphasize the direct actions and strategic success of the company, whereas the single passive instance serves to highlight a past state of being. For percentage, Table 5 presents the distribution of voice forms identified in the dataset. According to the data, active voice is the predominant construction, appearing in 6 instances and making up 18.6% of the total sample. Conversely, passive voice is utilized only once, accounting for the remaining 40%. Taken together, the analysis is based on a total of 7 instances, representing 100% of the examined text. These results highlight the preference for active verbal morphology in reporting BYD's rapid global growth and its success in surpassing Tesla as the leading electric vehicle manufacturer. Next is the subject-verb agreement. Table 6 presents the distribution of subject-verb agreement types based on the sample sentences analyzed. As shown in the table, none of the sentences are categorized under the plural subject plus plural verb pattern, as the subjects in the dataset are consistently singular. In contrast, Sentence 1 to sentence 6 are all categorized under singular subject plus singular verb. Additionally, sentence 7 is identified as a non-standard agreement between a plural subject and a singular verb. Overall, the findings indicate that singular agreement is the most frequent pattern found in the dataset. Next is the percentage. Table 7 provides a summary of the distribution of all categories for the pattern of subject-verb agreements identified in the dataset. As shown in the table, 6 instances are correct, accounting for 86% of the total sample. In one of the data points, the agreement was wrong, giving a percentage of 40%. The results overall indicated that the majority of the criteria represent the standard subject-verb agreement rules across the analyzed clauses, though one error was noted in the plural to singular marking.
Let's move forward to the discussion part for source B. Firstly, for the discussion of the tenses. The findings in table 1 show that the present tense is used more frequently than the past tense. This suggests that the clauses in dataset are mainly used to express general statements or information that remains relevant at the time of writing. In non-academic writing, the frequent use of present tense serves to create a sense of connection with the reader. According to Krista, 2006, online personal narratives often use the past tense to make the content feel like a direct conversation or a shared experience. The lower use of past tense, 20%, indicates that while there is some reflection on past events, for example, was almost unheard, the primary focus of the article is to provide ongoing advice and personal insight, which is a common characteristic of reflective blog posts. According to Leach, 2004, for aspect discussion, table 2 shows a clear preference for the simple aspect compared to the perfect and progressive aspects. This indicates that action and states are generally presented in a direct and uncomplicated manner without emphasizing duration, continuity, or prior occurrence, according to Kurt et al. 1985. Explain that the simple aspect is used to present an event or state known as a complete whole. This progressive aspect is often used to emphasize the process and ongoing nature of an activity, according to Carter and McCarthy, 2006.
Next is the discussion for voice usage. The findings in Table 5 show that the active voice is the predominant construction used in the selected sample sentences, with 6 sentences written in the active voice and only 1 is the passive voice. This distribution indicates that the active voice plays a more significant role in the dataset, as it is clearer and easier to understand because it shows who performed the action, helping to highlight BYD's direct role in the global market and making its growth more impactful. The passive voice is used sparingly to avoid less direct or overly complex sentences, ensuring the focus remains on the company's rapid progress, while the preference for active construction supports clarity, effectiveness, and reader engagement. For the last discussion, Table 6 shows that 6 out of 7 sentences about BYD use correct subject-verb agreement. Singular subjects are generally paired with singular verbs, which makes the sentences clear and easy to follow. Overall, the consistent grammar demonstrates a good understanding of basic rules and helps ensure the information about BYD's success is communicated clearly. This careful attention to grammar also reflects the writer's effort to maintain professional and readable writing.
Let's move into comparison part. For tenses part, source A mainly use the simple present tense and present perfect tense. The simple present tense is used to state general facts and ideas that are always true. The present perfect tense is used to connect past studies with the present situation. This shows that source A focuses on academic facts and explanations. On the other hand, source B uses more types of tenses such as simple present, present perfect, past simple, and present continuous. These tenses are used to report current news, past events, and actions that are happening now. This helps make the news more clear and up to date. Overall, source A use fewer tenses to say formal and objective, while source B use more tenses to report events clearly and keep the audience interested.
In terms of aspect, source A mainly uses simple aspect with limited use of perfect aspect. The simple aspect is used to describe general situation, ongoing condition, and established facts, which is common in academic writing. The perfect aspect appears only once to link past research with its present relevance. This shows that source A prioritizes clarity and objectivity, focusing on stable and generational academic information rather than change or progression. In contrast, source B uses a wider range of aspects, including simple, perfect, and progressive aspects. The simple aspect is still the most frequent, but the perfect aspect is used more often than in source A to highlight achievement and results that affect the present situation. The progressive aspect is also used to emphasize actions that are currently happening, such as business expansion. This variety helps make the news report more dynamic and timely for the audience.
Finally, in terms of voice, the academic article and the news report may include some use of passive voice, especially when the focus is placed on processes, outcomes, or general trends rather than on specific edges. As shown in Table 4 and Table 5, the journal article demonstrate a balanced use of active and passive constructions, with each accounting for 50% of the total sentences analyzed. This equal distribution reflects a common feature of academic writing, where passive voice is frequently applied to emphasize research needs or action instead of the researchers themselves. In contrast, the live news article shows a strong preference for active voice, with 86% of the sentences constructed actively. This dominance of active voice highlights the company's direct actions, which are crucial in delivering impactful information, although passive voice appears only minimally in the news reports. It used serve to describe a past condition rather than ongoing action. Overall, the findings suggest that while academic writing tends to balance both voice to maintain objectivity and formality, new reporting favor active voice to convey clarity.
Next, regarding subject-verb agreement, source A shows a full consistency and accuracy. All sentences follow standard subject-verb agreement rules, with singular subject paired with singular verbs and plural subject paired with plural verb. This reflects the formal and careful edited nature of academic writing, where grammatical accuracy is essential. On the other hand, source B mostly follows correct subject-verb agreement, but one instance of incorrect agreement is found, where a plural subject is followed by a singular verb. Although the majority of the sentence are grammatically correct, this minor error reflects the more spontaneous and less controlled nature of news reporting compared to academic texts.
Next, we go to the reflect of value. The first one is the values behind tenses and aspect choices. The tense our writer choose show that the value. In this text, the present tense is used to show that information is accurate and true right now. This is important of technical writing because it makes fact feel solid and builds the reader's trust. The simple aspect is also used to keep communication clear. In this, it describes action directly so the readers doesn't get distracted by complex details. Overall, these choices show that the writer care about being objective and easy to understand. Instead of using fancy words, they use simple, clear patterns to make sure their message is easy to follow.
Next, organizing and justifying a stance. Which values matter most? Based on the analysis of tense, aspect, voice, and subject-verb agreement, the most important values reflected in the text are clarity, objectivity, and professionalism. These values matter most because the main purpose of information in live news is to communicate ideas accurately and efficiently. The frequent use of present tense and simple aspect supports clarity by presenting information as generally valid and easy to understand. In addition, the preference for active voice and consistent subject-verb agreement reflects professionalism. Active voice allows reporters to make the live news clear by clearly showing that the grammatical subject of the sentence is performing the action. Furthermore, the consistent use of subject-verb agreement makes the live news sound more natural and professional, helping the viewer easily understand whom or what is performing the action.
Lastly, we have evidence supporting the stance. Evidence from books and studies shows that clarity and professionalism are key elements of formal writing. Pinker 2014 emphasizes avoiding legalese and using the active voice and simple tenses to make ideas easier to follow, while Huddleston and Palm 2002 highlight that standard grammar and avoiding personal pronouns helps writing sound more objective. Similarly, the University of Manchester Academic Freshbank 2024 recommends using the present tense for general facts and the active voice to ensure clarity, allowing readers to focus on the main ideas. Ultimately, this style makes the writing more professional and helps the reader focus on the more important information.
Thank you for
watching!